welcome to the Global MONOCHEM Strategies 2019. I'm here with Felix from Bayer AG. Hi, Felix.
Hello.
So could you just briefly introduce yourself and also your role at the company?
Sure. So my name is Felix Hanisch. I'm leading the department Industrial Automation at Bayer. In that role, we serve all of the three divisions at Bayer to find innovative automation and digitalization solutions to make our manufacturing better.
All right. So we've seen some mega mergers this past year and how it affected the organizations involved. In a market where growth in connected to M&A almost inevitably, what is your advice for merging plants, technology and humans most effectively?
Well, Bayer has a strong history in that field, right? We've gone through a number of mergers and acquisitions, also divestments, and most recently the acquisition of Monsanto being the biggest one in our corporate history. What we've learned from the various acquisitions is really that you need to focus on the cultural aspect foremost, right? All the technical details usually can be sorted out, but if you don't get the culture topic right, then it will be an endless struggle, so to say. And we had examples where that took too long. And so with the most recent acquisition under the slogan, advancing together as one, we really put a lot of emphasis on that. And I think that's paying off. And only afterwards, then you look at technical issues. How do you integrate different systems? How do you combine data to be a more effective company? But that usually can be handled if the people are willing to work together.
Okay. So what is the role of operational agility when striving to achieve business performance excellence?
Well, operational agility really can be looked at from different angles, right? There's, on the one hand, definitely a more agile environment in which we do our business in. The markets require quicker response times, especially in our consumer health division, for example. They need to deal with customers like Alibaba and Amazon, whereas in the past it used to be big grocery supply chains. Yeah? And you can already imagine that that is a different speed requirement coming at us. But then also within the company, I would say, on the one hand, the expectation of younger employees is more towards having a more agile mindset, trying things out, experimenting. So that's one of our, we call it focus behaviors, experimentation to allow for that. While at the same time, of course, being a company that's around for more than 150 years, we also do want to ensure that we have a certain stability in the company and a long-term successful business model. So this conflict we try to manage, basically.
Okay. So how far along the 4.0 journey is Bayer in terms of technology and process at the moment?
Yeah, again, I would say it varies a little bit in different areas of our business. I think the very encouraging thing is that we have, with our Digital Excellence Council, a body that is basically at the board level, really has picked up this topic and also makes sure that the cultural change initiative is driven. Digital is really a topic for all of our employees, not just a few experts or the nerds in some cupboard. On the other hand, there are different initiatives addressing specific items, I would say. So my department is more involved in Industry 4.0, making it usable in our production environment. We have facilities that have been around for 20, 30 years, so we can't all rip the old equipment out and put new equipment in. It's a lot about retrofitting. Nevertheless, we need to get to the data, we need to optimize our production setup, and so that's what we specialize in.
All right. And so besides 4.0, what are the main issues or challenges that you are currently facing in chemical production? And how do you respond to these challenges?
In general, I think chemical production is a tightly regulated environment. That's true for the pharmaceutical business, also the conventional. If you think of REACH here in Europe, for example, or chemicals need to be registered. Doing that smartly can be critical for the success of your business. First of all, compliance is a must, license to operate, right? But also the effort that goes into these meeting these regulative requirements can be incredibly high. And again, that's where digitalization can help. And the other big threat that I think everybody in the chemical industry fears, what would be the Amazon in our industry? Who would get between our customer and us and takes away a lot of profit? So you see in the industry a lot of experiments also in chemical platforms, trying to have a direct link to the customer ourselves. We do that in the digital farming business, for example, where we try to get in touch with the farmers directly rather than through wholesalers, offering them data-driven solutions and thus have a direct interface.
All right. So when you think about the future, what will chemical manufacturing look like in 10 years? How different will it be compared to today? I know it's kind of a broad question, but maybe you have some ideas.
We should definitely meet again in 10 years to verify that statement. It's tough to tell, right? I mean, who would have guessed like 10 years ago where the mobile phone industry would have been when Apple launched their iPhone? Right now, I don't see the iPhone of the chemical industry. So I think the type of manufacturing is probably going to be similar. We will clearly see a further shift of the base chemical markets to Asia. Already today, China is producing around 40% of the world's chemicals. That's clearly going to be in 10 years above 50%. So these effects will have geographical shifts. There is a lot of buzz about lot size 1. Will everybody get their very personalized plastic manufactured? I think there are niche markets where that is attractive. If you think of nutrition, if you think of medicine, but the bulk chemicals, the polymers, the plastics that we use day in, day out will remain mass chemicals, and efficiency as well as sustainable ways of producing them, and also building in recycling concepts so that we mitigate problems like plastic litter in the oceans, etc. That needs to be solved, and I think we will have that solved in 10 years for sure.
Okay, hopefully.
Definitely.
So today you've presented a case study on gold rush in digital manufacturing and the underlying corporate strategies, finding nuggets in production data. Can you give us a few insights into what was discussed, maybe?
Sure. I mean, the key is in a company like Bayer, where we have 3 divisions, pharmaceuticals, consumer health, and crop science. First of all, is that each of the divisions has completely different requirements, different drivers. And so that's where the different strategies come. How do you approach digital? Based on that, you need to find different solutions. That was the one key element in the talk. And the other piece was that despite these different strategies, there may be still common technology solutions behind it. So you always need to ensure IT security. You always need to find solutions that you don't develop yourself, but with partners in the industry, also together with your suppliers. And that's where we leverage organizations like NAMUR or associations on the supplier side to co-develop solutions. And that enables us to get solutions faster and also share experiences in the industry. That was the second key takeaway, I would say.
Well, that sounds interesting. So the last question would be, what are your expectations regarding this year's conference? What do you expect to gain from maybe your industry peers here at MANUCHEM?
Yeah, I think the beauty of the conference, like Global MANUCHEM Strategies, is that it has a good mix of networking and more content-driven presentations.
Thank you very much.
No, indeed. Usually you get more out of the networking piece by making contacts, and the presentations serve as a means to get you started, also get you thinking. And so meeting at least a dozen people I haven't met before and catching up with a few old buddies would be my highest expectations.
Okay, well, I'm very pleased to hear that. And thank you very much for the interesting insights, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you.